Hello everyone and welcome to Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021. It is the very end going to be nigh upon us. It is going to be the Combine coming up on our screens, the final head-to-head, and it is going to be displaying none other than our own Team Secret going against Lazarus to decide a spot in Trackmania Grand League next season. This is a 1v1, it is mano a mano, or however it's said in other languages. It is going to be evoN against Scrappy. Loser goes home, winner stays on. So, this is the fourth 1v1 of which we will have, the fourth 1v1 which there has been in terms of deciding Trackmania Grand League's future participants and who's going to be getting sent down to the dumps of the Combine. We have had to start us off with Worker against the German Granadi, of which Worker won in a close, albeit mistake-ridden match, 3 maps to 2. Secondly, we had the first of the Trackmania Grand League matchups, which was between Riolu and Link, 13th place against 16th place, of which Riolu took home a 3 maps to 0 victory, and only just concluding on your screens on the Trackmania Twitch channel. That was Numalop Soldier versus Izzy Dream Binks, of which Binks managed to take it home and will be participating in next season's Trackmania Grand League virtue of 3 maps to 1. We have 1 spot left in Trackmania Grand League's upcoming season, and it will be for one of these players. It will be for evoN of Team Secret, who finished, I believe it's 15th place overall in the league, and secondly Scrappy from Team Lazarus, albeit 3rd place overall in Trackmania Grand League, or 4th place, 3rd to 4th place from the actual overall tournament by virtue of winning the last chance qualifier, which was a matchup between these exact 2 players. However, was in the regular season down in the bottom 4, so will be fighting for his tournament life, despite only just previously fighting for tournament victory. So, we will be going live as soon as players are on track. We will be ready to go. We will have 5 maps in front of us. It is going to be essentially a best of 5. First player to hit 3 map wins, and that will be the score at the top of the screen with the SEC for Secret. That's 0 of course at the moment, and LAZ for Lazarus, first to 3 in that. And in the maps themselves, it will be a best of 7. So it will be first to 4 points, you will get 3 points and then get finalist. And then you will be en route to victory. You will be en route to retain your spot in Trackmania Grand League. Now, both of these players, of course, have displayed a superior level of performance, especially in the last chance qualifier. So just as a result of the likes of Scrappy managing to get the main tournament 3rd to 4th place, does by no means state that evoN is by any means out of his league, and we will be seeing coming up on our screens within a few minutes the 1v1 between the players to see how they match up against each other. Now, give you folks an idea of how the tournament will unfold. As I said, we will have 5 maps, and they have been picked in a particular order. I believe it was Scrappy having the first map picked due to the superior league position. So we will start off with reversing from Scrappy, and then evoN picks Slalom, Scrappy picks Bicycle, 4th map from evoN is Arctic, and the 5th map will be Frozen Fridges if we reach that far. However, we have 1 warm-up and we are going to be getting underway on reversing. The end of the warm-up is nigh and we are underway. So, evoN from Team Secret against Scrappy from Team Lazarus. The pink versus the black here. Definitely a very interesting matchup between the 2 of them. It will be interesting to see, especially how they get started off on this track. The kind of trend we were seeing last time was that Scrappy was faster throughout the regular lap. However, evoN had the edge going through the identity, especially on this map. We saw a lot of snipes. evoN earning the title of the Polish sniper by virtue of his last lap heroics on reversing from Thompson. However, at the moment we have Scrappy in the lead by just about 0.3 of a second, entering into the identity for the first time. First time on reversing, and this will be the last time we will see this map in Trackmania Grand League. This is officially the last map in general of Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021 season. Oh, but TMGL draws equal going into the new lap. Not even 100th of a second between them. So interesting to see what Scrappy has been working on. He did pick this map first, so indicating he is feeling much more comfortable on it. They did come up against each other in almost this exact same format. It was very close on this map, but not in this round it won't be, as Scrappy makes the big mistake and he is going to get eliminated by knockout. Now, just a quick explainer, as we're seeing a KO coming out on your screen. You will be able to win around either one of two ways: by being ahead at the end of the 2 laps, or secondly, as we're just seeing there, if you manage to get a gap of over 1.5 seconds and you manage to maintain that for 3 checkpoints. So that will be the 3 red blocks there. That will be designating that the players have only those 3 checkpoints, or in that case Scrappy had only 3 checkpoints to be able to get himself back within 1.5 seconds. So first blood is drawn by Team Secret, and Scrappy is the first to be under the pressure here. TMGL, at least statistically, would be the favourite on this map, having got the edge over Scrappy on the general last chance qualifier. However, in the final opportunity, when it came down to a 1v1 between the players, Scrappy did take it in a conclusive 3-0, at least on the last 2 maps. However, reversing was extremely tight and could have went either way, but Scrappy's not going the right way here, and he's going to be losing a lot of time on this downhill. And if he doesn't get this switch around quickly, he's going to be on the back foot straight away, and he is losing a lot of time. And TMGL is speeding into the distance here. Scrappy's going to need to be careful. 1.1 behind though, so as long as he's not out, he still has a chance. And our BDI here on the Lazarus, member of Scrappy from Belgium. TMGL, as we were mentioning, the Polish sniper. Try and have a guess where he's from. Scrappy, as we said, the regular lap pace can keep him in any fight going through this. It's all going to be a question of if TMGL will be able to keep the composure to enable himself to take this round win. Oh, and he makes the mistake as I say that. Is Scrappy going to be able to capitalise? He has moved into the lead. Will TMGL even be able to make this jump? I'm not sure. You do have to release going through this jump, and TMGL's going to fail it. Scrappy now steals defeat. Or no, steals victory from the jaws of defeat, rather. I always get that mixed around. And Scrappy will knock out TMGL by virtue of being more than 1.5 seconds ahead, as TMGL did not have enough speed for the jump. So, mistakes aplenty here in the first rounds. Not actually concluding 2 laps unless you count that trickle over the line from Scrappy there. So very interesting start here from both the players. Both players making mistakes, giving their opponents their first round. And who's going to take the second? Who's going to put themselves halfway to the first map win? To the first point on the big board. That's the board that matters. Scrappy so far for the fastest lap, but only by 1/10 of a second. Oh, and TMGL already made a big mistake though, and that's going to be another KO loss perhaps. And it will be 2 seconds of a gap, and TMGL loses extremely quickly the second point there that goes straight to Scrappy. 2-1 now, and Scrappy already came from behind and back on the front foot here. Interesting to see where that mistake was made. TMGL, we've known as being an extremely capable player, but having trouble coping with the pressure, I think, would be a general surmising of TMGL's Trackmania Grand League experience. However, you do say that, but when pulling out some of the rounds that he did on the last chance qualifier, you really do not know what is under this man's hat. So far, in the lead. A little bit of a role reversal here, with this time Scrappy playing catch up through the regular lap. TMGL cutting back down onto the road very early, very directly. Scrappy millimeters behind here, 300ths of a second. Very lateral there for TMGL. That means he will get more speed. So you saw there, Scrappy did get the mini advantage there, and Scrappy actually makes the mistake. That means he's not going to be able to turn around here so quick, and that's going to be a KO loss, no doubt, for TMGL, and all KO losses so far. Sounds like this is a puncher's matchup. 2-2 will be the score. And we are both halfway now. We have TMGL and Scrappy just 2 more points away from the first map point here. Mistakes aplenty so far. Still not seen any clean 2-lappers, but reversing is a very demanding track. Scrappy going for the airtime, does find himself slightly in the lead. A little bit of a speed boost going into the grass landing. A lot of green stuff here on the track. TMGL, a lot of movement there. Will lose a little bit of time, goes for a wider line to try and gain some speed back through this section. A little bit of a straight. Back onto the grass here as Scrappy holds on to the lead. TMGL trying to commit through that turn, but did have to make a mini adjustment. Now comes the identity. This is the part that Scrappy definitely struggles with most. And on the landing, he's again going for a shallower approach. And again, TMGL's taking the lead through this part. Making the turnaround very nicely. How does Scrappy do it? As equal. And we move into lap number 2 for the first of only a few times here. TMGL for a slight break there. However, he will not have airtime as much as Scrappy. Little bit of a deeper line there, and will try and gain the speed back through this section, but Scrappy masters the landing. Somewhere where he was always gaining a lot of time. Seems to have got that section nailed to perfection. Scrappy with the slimmest of margins here. And the lead. TMGL have a slight boost of speed from a little bit more of a downhill trajectory. But here we go. We go into the identity for the second time. TMGL makes it through cleanly this time. Are we going to see a full 2-lapper? Most important question is who's going to be taking it home. Scrappy with a little bit of a weird jump. He knows he needs to risk it here, but TMGL on entry to the identity does keep the lead as wheels are turning the wrong way. However, that is how reversing is done, and the Polish sniper executes the ending to perfection, and we finally have our first clean second lap there, and TMGL now putting himself on map point. This would be straight away a big improvement from last time's matchup. He did manage to get to finalist on this map, however did not manage to close it out. The question is if he's going to be able to manage it right here and now. Scrappy is a hell of an M-boss to come up against for any man. However, TMGL this time having a speed boost and ahead. You can see by the red name and the red number on the back of his car that he is finalist. That means he needs to win one more round to get the map point. But Scrappy can come back from a gap like this, for that is sure. 1/10 of a difference here as they are close to concluding map number 1 of map number 1 here. Scrappy a little bit awkward there, landed on the little bubble. Very lateral here, he does clip it, but that is a risk from Scrappy. It does pay off as he gets himself a tiny bit closer and keeps TMGL within arm's reach, but through the entirety of the first identity, he just has some issues again with that turnaround and allows TMGL a little bit of a gap. TMGL though messes up that section. He will again cut down on the airtime, and Scrappy makes a massive mistake, and TMGL, he might not know it yet, but he just needs the 3 CPs. And this might be first map point here to Team Secret. One more checkpoint. And there you have it. Team Secret draw first blood here and go 1-0 ahead. And Scrappy has to fight from behind. That was his own map pick. Was definitely very fast throughout the regular map. However, had some issues at the end, as the same as a head-to-head qualifier. How the turns tables or something. Map number 2 as we move on to TMGL's picks, and this will be slalom. A very interesting matchup we had here last time. Both players very evenly matched in terms of pace. However, it came down to the consistency through the identity, which really got the players head and shoulders above the rest. So we will see what Slalom has in store for us. Round number 1 is straight on the board, and here we go. Scrappy. Was last time these two met in the final of the last chance qualifier. But weird to think that 14th and 15th were the last two remaining on that. Taking out everyone along their way. And some fine performances on Slalom were definitely a part of that recipe for success. However, again, as we said, consistency through the identity. Oh, and a big mistake there from Scrappy. That wasn't the Slalom we were talking about, but it's the one that's been failed nonetheless, and Scrappy's going to get an easy KO victory to start us off with, and that's going to be 1-0 straight away in round score. Doesn't even need to worry about the Slalom there. Perfect start for Scrappy. You'll take that any day of the week, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or in this case Sunday. Scrappy 1, TMGL 0. However, Secret.evoN, Lazarus 0 at the moment. Scrappy looking to remedy that number. TMGL looking to remedy the round number. And that is 0 on his round score. Both players, I would believe, be evenly matched in regular round pace here. However, we will see that being displayed in front of our eyes. A little bit of a different line there by Scrappy that allows him to get avoid the wheels going up in the air. Quite airtime, but making it through this section cleanly. Many slaloms in this track, 1 and now 2 slaloms. However, the main slalom, the slalom of doom, coming up at the end. An ice slalom, definitely a completely different set of techniques required to navigate this one to perfection as they enter it for the first time. And will both players make it through cleanly? TMGL manages to hook it up correctly, and Scrappy does as well. Could not get closer to the inside there. TMGL has to cut some speed, and he actually hits the flags. That's the second time that's happened to TMGL. It happened in the last chance qualifier as well. And this is going to be another KO victory here for Scrappy. And Lazarus are in the Wonderland. Round number 3 here, and so far is a flawless performance here by Scrappy. No mistakes. Of course, a lot about these 1v1s is being able to put your opponent under pressure, being able to force errors. Very important part of the game. Of course, there is no contact between the cars. The players can choose whether or not they want to see their opponents, whether or not they even want to see the UI, if they want to see if they're ahead or behind. The only indication some players prefer to have is the number on the back of their car. Scrappy currently in the lead, but only by slim margins so far. However, executed this slalom much more cleanly, 0.2 of a second of a lead. Scrappy was very consistent going through this identity. Never calling him out here, let's hope I've not cursed him. Oh, and both players slide out, but Scrappy hooks his wheels up on the back, and the caster's curse has come real. TMGL now in prime position to win by knockout, and he will do so with Scrappy 4 seconds behind, and both players slid out, but TMGL just managed to, I don't know, activate that James Bond where spikes come out of his tyres and he eventually gets grip on the ice, and that is TMGL officially on the board. A disaster for both players, but recovered. And TMGL now 2-1 behind. As we said, the identity can definitely catch out. Definitely a difficult section to navigate. That's me speaking from playing Trackmania for a good few years, let me tell you. Here we go. That second half through. Lap number 1 here. Round number 4 we're at so far. Maximum of 7 rounds. There's a best of 7. Scrappy loses a lot of speed on landing. Cuts onto the blue. on the inside. That will lose you some speed, and as such, TMGL now overtaking the lead, but who's going to have it coming out of it? Slalom, sliding out is TMGL, and that's what we were talking about. That's how difficult it can get and how difficult it is to recover from. It doesn't matter if you know it's coming, that doesn't mean you can do anything about it. And Scrappy puts himself on map point. A decisive map so far for the Lazarus member, and is so far looking good to get Lazarus not only on the round board but on the map board. 1-1 Scrappy is fighting for here. However, he is on finalist and he has, I believe that would be 2 map points in the bag before TMGL gets a finalist attempt himself. Now, will Scrappy cope with the pressure is the question I'm sure the Lazarus homies will be asking themselves. Does the Polish sniper have any trick shots left in the bag? For this is not Rust and this is not Call of Duty. Was it even called Rust? I don't even remember anymore. I'm too old. Too old for that. Scrappy extending. Strong lead coming through here, and he avoids the mistake he did last time, so limiting TMGL's chances to get back into this. Now this would put a player under pressure to risk going through an identity like this, and that can be very dangerous. And TMGL skates his wheels out, but he manages to hold on this time. He will be able to get in within the 1.5 seconds, but only just 1.2 here. Scrappy has over a second of an advantage here and just needs to hold on to it. Or he can push, try and put TMGL out by knockout. But the Belgian opts to go for here. Needs to focus on getting this second identity cleanly and making it through the track without issue, without problem, without duress. Looking good so far as the Belgian. Very seasoned player in Trackmania's history. He's participated in a few tech World Championships back in the mid-2010s. Definitely very experienced at handling pressure as Scrappy. Has fought up there with the very best. Oh, manages it no problem in style does Scrappy complete slalom, and both of the Trackmania Grand League players make a habit of breaking each other's map pick rather. And Scrappy finishes it off, winning by KO, and it is now 1-1. Only 1 point gained by TMGL so far, or sorry, in general in that map. And Slalom is officially in the books as going the way of Lazarus. But now, we move on to Bicycle. Now, this is a very interesting map to see between these two players. Both players very fast on it, however, it matters whether you can survive on Bicycle. Saw through the Soldier and Binks map, that is definitely a map that people were struggling with. Only in a few rounds did they even reach the second lap, never mind completing the full thing. Let's see who cracks and crumbles. Let's see who thrives and survives. Scrappy though, with some momentum, 1 map win. Straight under the belt from map number 2. Now we move on to his second pick here, which is Bicycle. TMGL on the back foot, let's see how he responds to it. Currently with a small lead here. Oh, very close to the inside, that's going to mess up his line, but he does recover. Can pressure you just to take that extra 1% of the track you're not normally comfortable with. Just to get that extra bit of breathing room, to keep that opponent under that tiny ounce more of pressure. That is what these high pressure situations do to you, and that is why they're so hard to deal with. Especially coming from a young pair of shoulders as TMGL's. It's very impressive to see how these players are managing to handle it so far in this map. Bicycle, round number 1 is looking good for TMGL. However, Scrappy close on the heels and he is hunting. Touches his wheels slightly on the snow at the end, but will gain a boatload of speed as a response. TMGL doesn't opt to go for as much boost, however this straight will be cut short by a quick slide through here, but TMGL loses a large amount of speed here. However, will recover and will keep himself within 1.5 second threshold comfortably, but You don't make a mistake on this map. It is difficult to regain time. And 4/10 in Trackmania is a lifetime. Scrappy, one of the fastest players around, certainly. Don't expect him to be slacking off in any stretch of the word. So far, TMGL though, keeping him within arm's reach. Not much room to catch up through this identity though, so he's going to need to pull all the fancy approaches he can. It looks as if this is going to be going Lazarus's way, unless Scrappy makes a mistake going through here. It is 3/10 of a second, and this identity, unless you mess it up, you're not going to regain 3/10. However, Scrappy, he's going to be taking it. Round number 1 of map number 3, his map pick is coming in clutch for him this time, and Scrappy takes first blood in Bicycle and off to the perfect start. First to 3 points wins the match, as it said, and that is 3 map points, of course. Whoever then wins this map will be within 1 map of securing their place in next season's Trackmania Grand League. Both players performed exceptionally, especially in the last chance qualifier though, so I'd love to see them both, but unfortunately, it does not matter what Scotty wants. Very close round to start us off with so far. As we said, most important thing is to keep your opponent under pressure. Even if your opponent sees you're a few tenths of a second behind, it can open up that little section of your mind that's keeping all the parts of the body tense, ready to react. Let you take things smooth and easy. Open up and allow yourself to start gaining some consistency. Extremely close are both players though. Entering into identity of Bicycle once again. Both players alternating routes going through there. This time TMGL with the most speed on exit. Touching wheels on the snow at the back. This time making it through much more confidently there was TMGL. And did execute it well, however has a Scrappy on the hunt and only 2/10 of a second behind. So definitely not a gap to sleep on whatsoever, and not a player to sleep on regardless of the gap. Oh, and TMGL makes the mistake. That's what we're talking about, just sometimes that little 1% extra that you're demanded of in a match like this can come back to bite you in the ass, and millimeters were the difference, but 1 point is going to be lost, and 2 points is now going to be the distance between Scrappy and TMGL on Bicycle here. Scrappy looking good. Looking fresh. TMGL looking a little bit frosty on Bicycle. Let's see what happens in round number 3 of map number 3 here. We don't have lap number 3, so we can't keep going with that, unfortunately, but 2 points on the board for Scrappy here. Short lead already. TMGL avoids a mistake this time. Remember, it wasn't a flying lap last time where he did fall prey to the small blunder. TMGL slightly ahead here at the moment. Always giving me the fear of them going through that corner. So close to the inside wall here, but you will see it's a trend from these players. So close to every wall it seems like. I think they're out to just give old Scotty a heart attack, ladies and gentlemen. But TMGL and Scrappy, one close to the left, one close to the right there, but they both survive. Scrappy with the little adjustment. Will be only about a car length behind Scrappy, or TMGL, sorry, here. Going through into the second part of the identity, only 1/10 of a difference. You see how the players cut down their amount of boost there. Going through that section, don't take all of it, but Scrappy makes the mistake this time. Almost copy a mistake TMGL made in the first round, and now first point potentially going the way of TMGL, but he needs to keep it cool. Get through the next few checkpoints. Oh, he makes a mistake, but he has, luckily for him, a large enough gap, and that will be point 1 for Secret, and on the board officially on Bicycle. I believe the last map between these two players was a clean sweep by Scrappy, so TMGL definitely putting up a very strong fight here. Many would view him as the underdog, but Did take the first map, of course, so anything can happen here in Trackmania Grand League. Especially between two extremely capable players. Ooh, a little bit of a better exit there from evoN, and moving a little laterally there is Scrappy. Did lose some speed. Dropped the gear going on to the dirt section. Looks more like clay now. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for. Did get more speed, Scrappy, but just did get a little bit of a jump. evoN will land earlier, but does have less gusto going through that section. Don't really know what that means, but don't come for me. evoN, though, regains the lead on entry to the identity. Does cut on that boost a little bit, giving Scrappy the opportunity to get his wheels in front. And Scrappy again can see going for full boost. However, evoN will exit lap 1 in the lead, but makes the same mistake as Scrappy did last time. And now Scrappy potentially being handed a win by KO. evoN, he will make it, but will he make it in 1.5 seconds? He will not. Scrappy just needs to survive, and he will. One more checkpoint to go through, and that will be map point going the way of Lazarus. Let's take a look. Oh wait, there we go. Got a little bit confused there. Anyway, map point now. Here we go. Will Lazarus bring themselves up to 2 immediately? Does evoN and Team Secret have anything to say about it? Both players have been very evenly matched pace-wise. Not a full clean 2-lapper completed yet. Let's see if the players will manage it this time. A lot of mistakes made around the lap change there. Let's see if this round will be the same, and if so, who will it favour? Scrappy in the lead here currently. Red sticker on the back of his car, but dropping down into the red a little bit here now. Recovering well though. SCR number 2 on the back of his car versus Evo number 1. Potentially changing. Scrappy with a lot more airtime, but does land with more speed and will be in the lead going into the first identity perhaps. Oh, and he will be. Scrappy and evoN once again on Bicycle. Here we go. Looks like evoN executed that slightly better, but you can see it's a hair's breadth at the moment. Both players a bit equal on entry here, but are they both going to survive this? Seems to be the hardest section of the track, ironically. evoN and Scrappy both survive, with evoN on a slight advantage so far. We know Scrappy's regular round pace is electric though, so let's see what he's got in store as he overtakes. A little bit higher on the banking. Will bode him well. Oh, Scrappy though will be the beneficiary of evoN's mistake, and he just lands no problem, but actually gets an acceleration penalty. Will he be within 1.5 seconds is the question. He will, but you know how hard it is to catch up on Bicycle. Has he just handed the gift to Scrappy and Team Lazarus? Is within the 1.5, but he's going to rely upon Scrappy to be making a massive blunder. Scrappy's HUD off, he might not know, but I'd expect a player of his experience will either have someone telling him or he will have it up on his screen. 1.3, and it should be all going home here with Lazarus. 2 map points here now, and they put themselves within 1 map of Trackmania Grand League in next season, with evoN falling on Bicycle. We finally got a 2-lapper. Feels good, man. Here we go. Now we move on to Arctic Split here. This was a map that was quite closely contended between these two teams. However, a map where you saw a hell of a lot of mistakes, especially in the identity. Identity 1, which might look simple on first seeing. However, let this washed up player tell you that is not the case. One thing we did definitely see on this map though, evoN definitely had the advantage in the start. Gained a lot of speed through their starting slide on the opening lap. And put Scrappy on the back foot regularly. So let's see if that's going to be the same. I'd imagine Scrappy would have worked on that. Let's have a looky-see. Oh, Scrappy does look like he's been working on that. Drawing level are both players. Lap number 1, round number 1 of Arctic Split here. If there's going to be any risky tactics coming out from these players. Not so many different lines you can take to risk this map, however. As we said about the percentages, we will see the players drawing every last drop of time out of this track, believe you me. And here we go, TMGL going for a little bit of a board slide, but that's definitely not the fastest way around here, sir. Not too much to worry about though, as this is one of the maps that is very difficult to consistently perform the identity, especially when the pressure is at its highest. Of course, when the pressure is at its highest, the very first things that happen is your fingers start slipping, start shaking. And through a map like this where precision is key, you absolutely cannot have that, can you, TMGL? As he falls, and Scrappy's just going to need to make it through this part of the identity, and he will have a 1.5 second lead. Will he get through this slide? Fine, he will, and he looks like he's going to take the first win, and he's going to take that by KO. TMGL did not survive, actually gained a lot of time through that slide, but it was not enough, and Scrappy draws first blood on Arctic Split, which could potentially be the map that seals his spot and Trackmania Grand League next season. Is it going to be the map that seals TMGL's doom? Who knows? TMGL though, this time, that's what we were talking about, gets the advantage on the exit of the slide. Long ice slide there, difficult to perform to perfection. Scrappy already half a second behind, not sure what's happened there. Don't think the ice slide drew him that far behind. Now the pressure is on the Belgian. When we're talking about players that do have trouble performing under pressure, this is the map you would test them on. So let's see if the players will be able to keep nerves of steel and steady, or is it going to be leg spaghetti? On at the moment enters the identity in first place. Comparison to last round, a little bit of a switcheroo, but let's see if it's going to be identical to last time around. Both players make it through side by side here now in this identity. TMGL goes off a little bit shaky, and he's on two wheels, and that's not the right way to complete that. Scrappy might get another win by KO here. It's a lovely slide through this section, and he's going to be taking another one of TMGL's points here on Arctic Split. And Lazarus are on a roll so far. Win by KO. Scrappy is 2 rounds away. TMGL needs to get a handle back on this map. On this match even, but this is a very difficult map to do it on. This is a map where when the pressure is on, as we were saying, mistakes do definitely happen. The pressure certainly doesn't get any smaller or easier to deal with the further we go. Scrappy in the lead. Both players seeming to trade good starts here so far. Scrappy sometimes jumping to the left of the pole here, but not opting for that extra 100th or so of a second. Oh, very close to either side were both the players, but quarter of a second now between the two of them. Going into the identity once again. TMGL's not made it cleanly yet. That's going to be factoring into his head for sure. Needs to get it now, otherwise it can be too late, and he makes another mistake here. Wait, where did Scrappy go? Did Scrappy have to respawn? He has. And now TMGL handed a lifeline in this round. He's going to get the 3 checkpoint gap as he gets that slide, no problem. And when map and match and Trackmania Grand League point were all in the hand of Scrappy there, if he managed to survive that, he does make the mistake as well. And now TMGL gets himself on the board after a strong string of rounds there from Scrappy. It's definitely human. Definitely starting to get that slide better though, Scrappy. Big improvement here from the last chance qualifier. That's what we like to see. Show the players are very prepared. Here we go. So, round number 4 of a potential 7 here on this track. Will this be the final map? Will we go to the final map? Who knows? Final map would be Frozen Fridges. Was picked by TMGL in the past, however, simply the last map which was not picked by anyone so far. We're not favouring either man here. Scrappy in the lead, going into the identity once again. TMGL's still going to have it playing in his head despite winning that round. Oh, and Scrappy now making another mistake. He will survive, but he will have lost a lot of speed. TMGL very shaky going through, but he will have to reclaim a little bit of time. Half a second, just under. Finally, the player survived longer than one map, it seems. Scrappy, though, with a nice slide, but will lose some exit speed. 210s that will extend. So close there to the corner of the checkpoint, but both players survive. TMGL with a 210s lead here. Normally not that far in lead in this track. But as we see, the identity can make or break rounds just as easily in your favour or against you. 3/10 of a gap here, so both players performing very well in the regular lap, it seems. The only mistakes are being made in the identity or the start. TMGL got a little bit of that grass on inside, so we'll lose some time. If they perform it cleanly though, it might be the difference. TMGL gets the first part, as does Scrappy. Will they both survive? They do the second part, but Scrappy gets the inside line. Now they're going to be equal going into the final part of the identity. But now TMGL has the better exit, and who's going to take it? Scrappy cuts through the trees on the inside. Lumberjack Scrappy is not good enough to defeat TMGL. 2-2 we are at now. And finally, we have a clean 2 laps. And there we have it, 2-2. 2 in a row for Scrappy, 2 in a row for TMGL. Will we go to a final map is the question. Scrappy extremely close to the inside, but does survive. It will be a confidence boost for TMGL, managing to get the identity cleanly 2 times in a row, but that confidence can be shattered straight away if it manages to fail it again. Trackmania is a harsh mistress that way, let me assure you. No mercy for those who are not paying attention, those who are not completely zoned into the max. Who does seem to be zoned in, dialed in, to Scrappy at the moment. Currently 2/10 of a lead. Both players releasing, going through that section, clipping a little bit of a grass on the inside. Bluegrass there in the ins and outs of that corner. Here we go. Who's going to be treated by Arctic Split here? Both players looking good. Looking very nice going through lap number 1. Scrappy, lovely execution of especially that final part there. TMGL though looks as if he's lost some time going through this identity. Uncharacteristic, but 0.6 of a second will be the gap. Let's keep an eye on Scrappy here through the final lap. Will we get a clean 2-lapper between these 2 drivers? Mistakes only really at the start. Don't see many mistakes through the middle section of the track. So TMGL going a tiny bit too high here, but Scrappy's not been pushing it through that section, so wouldn't expect Heaven and Earth to be moving for the sake of a board slide. Scrappy a bit hesitant going through there. Might cost him a 10th or so of a second. Yep, down to 6. 10ths there, and now, here we go. Pressure is on. Just over half a second here now. Scrappy can't afford to take it easy. His gap's been half through that first part. He's close to the inside and he crashes. TMGL won't know it yet though, I don't think, but he makes it through, and TMGL coming from 2-0 down is now 3-2 in the lead. And what is happening here to Scrappy on Arctic Split? I can tell you what happened. He's splitting apart at the seams, and now TMGL is the one actually on map point here, wanting to draw equal on 2-2 and bring us to a final map to decide who gets through to Trackmania Grand League. It is, of course, the premier tournament of this game. We'll see no higher of a stage than Trackmania Grand League currently in the game. These players certainly don't want to have to go through Open Grand League to try and qualify again. Scrappy very close to the inside, lost a good bit of speed here. evoN from 3/10 behind now moves into the lead. Much prefers that number 1 on his car, I can assure you. Very close are both players though. And here we go. Identity time. A little change in approach there, but the players come out roughly the same. Here we go. Arctic split. Who's going to survive? evoN and Scrappy both make it through. evoN a little bit cleaner. evoN's on a roll here. Will he be able to keep it up? Oh, and both players make it through clean. Scrappy had to adjust a little bit on the exit of that last one though, so will lose a little bit of time, but nothing he cannot recover. Especially if a good slide here. evoN gets a bad exit, so now they're going to switch positions. And that could potentially be a good bit of time gained by Scrappy. So close to clipping that CP of both the players though. It scares me. Now 0.3 of a second. evoN had to adjust there. Will just keep his wheels on the ground though. Draws that little bit closer. Love seeing different trajectories from the players. evoN's risking it though. He wants to close out this map right now. Doesn't want to give Scrappy even a lick of finalist on this track. They're both going for it here. You can see the risk. You can see how close they get to the inside and the out. They're going to be wheel to wheel here going into the identity. Both players risking it. They're relaying positions here, first and second. Scrappy's risking it, but Scrappy fails. evoN just needs to make this final one, but does he know he's got it in the bag? He does not, but he has it in the bag, and it is going the way of Team Secret. Map number 4 is concluded, and we will be going to the very last map of Trackmania Grand League. It will be Frozen Fridges to decide who goes through to Trackmania Grand League and who goes out to Open Grand League. But what a show so far by both of these players. Incredible match so far, but now it sadly will come to an end on map number 5. But what a comeback there by evoN from 2-0 behind to be 4-2 in front. Did pick up the first map, picked up also the 4th map. But now, here we go. How crazy could it be, ladies and gentlemen? Scrappy, who was 3rd to 4th in the regular season, could potentially be out of Trackmania Grand League. Does the Polish sniper have his number, we wonder? Frozen Fridges will be the destination. Will it be the final destination for either one of these two players? Scrappy did have very strong regular lap pace here, but he makes a backflip, and that's already going to be a win by KO for evoN. What's happening to Scrappy here? He needs to be careful he doesn't go into a bad mindset here. That can kill you as quickly as a full stop, I can assure you. But first blood drawn immediately here by evoN. Scrappy needs to compose himself here. His Trackmania Grand League spot is at risk. This will be the final map. Mistakes can no longer be afforded. You can see how much Scrappy's risking it though. With risk comes reward. So close to the inside. This is a hard map to make up time in the regular lap, so the players will need to be on their toes. 0.2 of a second going into this long right-hander. Scrappy gets a good exit there. You want as much speed going through there as possible. Kill it on the downhill. And now the identity. These uphill ice 180s. evoN has picked this map before, so at least has felt comfortable on it previously. Scrappy, absolutely no slouch on it though. Did win it in the last chance qualifier, I believe. And did have the better out of the identity from these two players, I believe. Just by a few hundredths though. Second lap time here now. Nice opening lap there from Scrappy. Had one away. Awkward drift there by TMGL. He needs to be careful with that. That's definitely losing him some time. Scrappy looking good up here at the top. Half a second now. A little bit smoother going through here. Needs to avoid mistakes though. They can jump out and bite you in the ass at any opportunity, and they will do so. It looks as if he has a strong lead going into this identity. Doesn't take a lot of speed in though. TMGL tried to catch up, but he did make the mistake, did clip the wall there. He will be at least within the 1.5 seconds, but as long as Scrappy doesn't make a mistake here, he's going to have this one in the bag, and it's going to be equal going into round number 3 here. As long as Scrappy survives the final section, which he should. And there you have it, Scrappy won, TMGL won. Beautiful lap there by Scrappy, looking very good. Definitely got bags of pace here on this map, as do both players. Let's see if any one of them can get the upper hand in round number 3. A mistake by Scrappy that got TMGL the round. And a few smaller mistakes by TMGL that got Scrappy the round. So let's see. A lot better there by TMGL, managing to keep the same kind of pace. Millimeters to either side of the wall, but I've not got any toilet roll left. This time, with the regular lap, TMGL is taking the fight and winning it so far. A little bit of an awkward entry, but does keep his wheels on the ground, so he will conserve all of his speed he takes in. Little bit of airtime on entry to the identity, but let's see who's going to get this done. It seems to be Scrappy goes into the identity quicker, and TMGL goes a little bit lower, it seems. But did TMGL get the checkpoint even? Slower on the downhill, so he did lose some speed. Interesting how that'll work for the final lap, perhaps, if TMGL pulls that off. But Scrappy, well, that was shaky there from TMGL, but he does survive. Oh, TMGL drifting on the gear change there. That not do you good. 0.3 of a second. Seems to be, especially at the start of lap number 2, Scrappy has the advantage. Little bit of a difference there to be made, but minute. Scrappy with a little bit of a mistake going through there. He will get good speed on exit to compensate. Both players should be good going into the identity, but only 0.2 of a gap. The gloves need to be taken off here through this identity, but looks as if TMGL's actually lost some time, but Scrappy goes too high. Little bit too much lateral movement there. He will have the speed with TMGL on the downhill, but Scrappy looks like he's got too much of a lead here, and this will be round number 2 for Scrappy, it looks like, and it will. Best lap coming out from him as well, and an even faster run coming out from him. But TMGL close behind shows that these two players are not done with this match just yet. Scrappy 2 points away, TMGL 3 points away. TMGL needs to show his regular lap pace though. Scrappy is the one with the advantage. Again, both players taking a little bit of a different approach through there. Scrappy drifts a little bit later to avoid the gear down, it seems. Both players though within about 0.2 of a second going through this section. TMGL will have that better and will be able to catch up a little bit, but will make his approach through here awkward and makes the mistake, and that's going to be a win by KO for Scrappy to put him within 1 point of Trackmania Grand League once again. Some people were looking at this as a foregone conclusion that Scrappy would be in Trackmania Grand League again. when getting 3rd place in the overall tournament, but he has been pushed all the way from TMGL. Will he get pushed even further though? TMGL, last chance saloon here. He needs to win 3 rounds in a row. Can't afford no more mistakes, or that is curtains for the Polish sniper. Is this going to be the final round of this season's Trackmania Grand League? The final head-to-head, the final part of the combine. Both players starting off strongly here. Neither wants to wrap up their business just yet. Imagine Scrappy might actually. Never finds himself on the back foot so far. TMGL though gets a little bit of airtime. He's going to lose some speed and find himself on the back foot going into the identity at least. And he makes the mistake. Will he be able to stabilise going through the identity? He will, but he's going to need to pull out all of the stops here. He's about 1 second behind. He needs to make up 1 second in the next lap, or in this identity. He's bringing it back 1,000 by 1,000th it seems. Scrappy though, he might have had it communicated to him that TMGL has made a mistake. He has 0.8 of a gap here. Will Scrappy be able to hold on? 1 lap separating the two of them between their goals. The two of them between their fears here. 0.9 of a second. Scrappy keeping it a good lead here. We're going to check him out. See if he manages to make it through these sections cleanly. Then it will be good game. Scrappy only has a few turns remaining and he gets it through no problem. Will he survive where TMGL made the mistake? Close to the inside, but should be okay. TMGL's getting closer, but he's not going to get close enough here. Counting on Scrappy to make a mistake in the identity here, but he has been solid so far on frozen fridges. TMGL unwound at the crucial opportunity, and now Scrappy will be your final member of Trackmania Grand Leagues next season, and great job there by Team Lazarus. They will participate once again next season. TMGL has been eliminated and will end Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021. However, in style by both players, a very close match, but a very deserved win there by Scrappy and Lazarus. 3 maps to 2. Scrappy moves on. TMGL moves out. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This season's Trackmania Grand League is in the books. We will see if we'll get a final parting word here from TMGL. See what his intentions are now going forward. However, definitely a difficult moment to be dealing with. But what an amazing performance, you must say, there by Scrappy. The man did get top 3 overall in Trackmania Grand League and surely deserves to be staying. But a very big question as to what happens now with TMGL. Will he continue in Open Grand League? We will see. We'll update you as and when we hear as to what will be happening. However, we now move on to next season. For those who are not familiar, we will have our regular players who finished in the top 12 throughout the regular season. And they will be joined by 2 new players. We will have Worker, who defeated Granadi in the initial 1v1. And also the second new player will be Binks, who did actually manage to defeat who was it again? Soldier from Team Numalop. So Binks and Worker will be joining Scrappy and Riolu going forward in Trackmania Grand League. Those who have been eliminated, TMGL has been eliminated and Link has been eliminated. So end of all being said and done, 15th and 16th place do eventually end up getting eliminated, but we will get a final word there from TMGL. And we'll see when he is ready. Just a little technical difficulty there. But Team Secret, must be said, represented very strongly by TMGL throughout the 2 seasons. So as said there in the chat, would love to see TMGL being continued to be supported by Team Secret, and I would of course be happy to join in the journey once again and as always. But love in the chat for TMGL, guys. Let's see it. Performed very well for you all throughout this season. Put in a lot of effort, put in a lot of sweat and tears, I can assure you. Few claps in the chat. Few hearts. You know he deserves it. Definitely a gutting defeat to deal with, but it's not how you fall, it's how you get back up, isn't it? As we said, hopefully we will have a final word here from the young man himself, but we'll just await him to be ready. Wait him to be good to go, and then we will see how he feels about this season, how he feels about his potential next season in Open Grand League. Not going to put any words in his mouth. Imagine needing a break after a season like this, but we will see. TMGL, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, a bit of a gutting defeat, it must be said. Scrappy is now going to be participating in next season of Trackmania Grand League. You have officially been eliminated from Trackmania Grand League. But before we get into, how that went and how it's going to work going forward, give us your impression of the Combine match overall, because it was a hell of a battle.
I think I actually didn't hear you for a second, so could you repeat?
Sure. So just saying, give us your impression of the battle overall. It was a very strong fight between the two of you, albeit Scrappy coming out on top.
I mean, yeah, I knew it's gonna be close. However, I did prepare really well, and I was doing extremely well in practice, so I'm just very disappointed in myself, especially on map 2 and 3. I don't know what happens. Just pressure, as always. I don't know what to do.
But for sure, I mean, we've seen at the very least the signs through the last chance qualifier and this this final matchup that you do definitely have what it takes to go against the very best. So give us a little window into the next kind of year of your competitions. Will we see you in Open Grand League again? Are you going to take a little bit of a break? What's going on in that mind of yours?
I have no idea, actually. I don't know if I have motivation to play OGL. I'm not sure. Like, I can't say right now. Like, I'll have to wait and see.
For sure. But at the very least, through the last 2 weeks, I mean, especially through your antics in the last chance qualifier, no doubt even more so with a very stellar performance against, let's not forget, who did manage up 3rd overall in Trackmania Grand League. Earned a lot of fans so far this season, TMGL, a lot of support coming in, and a lot of people. I mean, I've seen the Polish sniper memes coming out. How's that feel, even coming off of a gutting defeat, but you've got a lot more people behind you now?
I mean, it's always a pleasure. It's always motivating me to keep going, even though results are not good. So again, just thank to everyone who cheered me throughout the season, and also final chance and head-to-head. It's always a pleasure to see you guys there, and thanks again.
For sure. And we'll not keep you that much longer, TMGL, but just give us your little, as a player's insight, of course. I mean, you've participated in a great many Trackmania Grand League seasons now. Give us your impression of the two new players going into Trackmania Grand League. It is Worker and Binks, actually, who will be participating next season. Give us an idea of what we can expect for that. Do you think it's going to be an even higher level? But what's your impression so far?
I mean, they're both sick players. I did watch the Worker versus Grenadi, and Worker played very well. Very consistent player. I didn't really watch Binks, but yeah, he showed throughout the OGL that he is very fast, and I feel like he might have a very good shot in TMGL. But yeah, we'll see. But I feel like they definitely deserve it, and but yeah, we'll see, because obviously TMGL is something different. You feel much more pressure. It's a completely different thing. But yeah, we'll see. I definitely have high hopes for them.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, that's been TMGL, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Has been participating through a good few Trackmania Grand League seasons now and represented Team Secret very well. So no matter where you go moving forward, whether it will be into Open Grand League or whether you're going to take a well-deserved and well-earned break, TMGL, I think on behalf of Team Secret, if I could so boldly say, and the great number of your supporters now, a very good job, and it has been a pleasure seeing you on our screens in Trackmania Grand League. And we can only hope it won't be too long again before you will be popping up on our screens once again. But it is the evoN show, it is Team Secret show. I will give you the final word and then we will send everyone else to sleep.
Yeah, so like I said again, thanks for cheering for the entire season. It has been a roller coaster of emotions, but just like the fall season or even the winter season from TM2, it was a great experience. I improved a lot as a player, and I'm just very, very happy in general. Who knows what future brings for me? I have no idea, but we'll see. Thanks everyone. Like, really appreciate it again.
Couldn't say it any better myself. But that has been it from evoN. That's been it from myself. Feel free to keep in touch with us. I believe it's Secret_evoN for himself on Twitter. Hopefully get you a bit more active, of course, and at TM Scotsman for myself. Been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. We will hope you enjoy the very best of the rest of your Sunday and have a very good week to follow. Stay safe, everyone, and good night.